Hey guys, witam was serdecznie. I hope you're all doing amazing today. I'm Mysticle and I'll be bringing you the latest in AR and VR news. As usual, you guys have chapters down below to skip to any specific part of this video that you are most interested in, and with that being said, let's get right into it. So, let's start off with the big one. The one that's actually been dominating my notifications since it dropped. Valve has officially announced that the Steam machine is arriving June 29th. And pre-orders are live right now, starting at $1,050. Nope, I did not stutter. $1,050. You've got the 512GB base model at $1,050, or $1,130 if you want it bundled with the Steam controller. Then there's the 2TB version at $1,350, or $1,430 with the controller. And to try to keep things fair and away from scalpers, Valve is doing a randomized pre-order queue. If you register by June 25th, you're put into a pool and then randomly selected to receive a purchase invite. It's a lottery, which is actually kind of smart. Now look, before we get into why this number actually hurts, because it does, let me give some credit where it's due. Linus, over at Linus Tech Tips, has had the Steam machine for a couple of weeks now, and his full review is out, which I'll of course leave down in the description below. And honestly, the hardware itself is genuinely impressive for what it is. It's a 6-inch cube, tiny, basically silent, and running a semi-custom 6-core Zen 4 CPU, 16GB of DDR5 RAM, and a 28 compute unit RDNA 3 GPU, which has about 8GB of VRAM. That actually puts it ahead of roughly 70% of the gaming PCs currently out in the wild, according to Valve. The SteamOS experience? Genuinely polished. You press a button on the Steam controller and your whole TV setup just wakes up. The TV switches input, the machine resumes your game. It's the kind of seamless living room magic that Linus said he could literally not replicate when he built his own DIY version years ago. And speaking of DIY, I'm gonna come back to that in just a second because we've built one too. And as usual with Valve hardware, it's fully open. You can even install Windows on it if you wanted to. You can upgrade the RAM and SSD yourself, and Valve has even partnered with iFixit for guides and parts. And it supports literally any peripheral you plug into it. Mice, keyboards, headsets, Bluetooth accessories, all of it. No licensing floodgates, no nonsense. The not so great parts? Performance on modern, demanding titles is a mixed bag. In Linus's testing, older games hit 120 plus FPS at 4K just fine, but newer titles were sitting around 40 to 50 FPS at default settings, and hit 60 FPS on some of them. You're dropping to the FSR Ultra Performance preset, which means you're upscaling from 720p base up to a 4K resolution. And at that point, yeah, it can look rough. Valve had marketed this as a 4K 60fps machine, and while that is technically achievable in many cases, it requires some serious compromises on newer titles. Ray tracing is essentially a non-starter for this hardware, and Valve actually acknowledged this. They told Linus directly that the price is higher than they originally planned. They hinted the original target was around $200 less than it ended up being, and that was because of the famous RAM apocalypse that we are all too familiar with at this point. Here's the part that actually concerns us the most though, the Steam Frame. The Steam Frame, of course, is Valve's upcoming PC VR headset that's supposed to launch this summer as well. And the way a lot of us are looking at this is the Steam machine is basically a preview of what is probably going to happen with the frame. And what that tells us about the frame is it's going to face the same component cost pressures as the machine. And we already knew this, but the thing is, I think a lot of people were not expecting $1,050. So what are we to expect on the frame? Valve has already added both devices to their Steam Verified program. For the frame, the minimum bar they've set is 72 Hz at 1728 by 1728 per eye resolution for VR titles. For flat screen games running on the Steam machine, the minimum is 30 FPS at 720p. Now, those are minimums, not targets, but they give us a a pretty clear picture of where the performance floor is being set. If the frame is launching at a price in line with the RAM-inflated Steam machine, we could be looking at a very, very expensive VR headset. The Steam Deck worked because it was aggressively priced. If the frame comes out at anything close to what a premium VR headset currently costs, that changes the entire value proposition. And with a minimum VR target of 72 Hz on modest hardware, I'm genuinely a little concerned about whether the frame is going to deliver the kind of performance that justifies whatever price tag Valve is going to have to put on it. Now, here's where I want to shamelessly plug something we did a few videos back. A few days ago, we built our very own DIY Steam machine. We threw together a compact PC with similar purpose, Linux gaming with SteamOS running through Baselite for the living room setup. And we managed to pull that off for around 600 USD. That list on Price Picker is with the prices as I bought the parts back then. And these aren't the latest parts, so a lot of those prices may have gone down, as well as the fact that a lot of the RAM and SSD per se may have gone up. But the point is, it's still a lot cheaper. And yes, it's not as polished as Valve's version, obviously. You're not getting the custom HDMI CEC magic, the Steam controller pairing, or the gorgeous cube form factor. But it runs SteamOS, it runs Proton, and it works. If you're curious how we built it and got there, and perhaps how you can make your own, definitely check out that video. I'll leave a link down below. But the bottom line on the Steam machine is this. The hardware is genuinely cool. SteamOS is fantastic, and Linux gaming wouldn't be where it is today if it wasn't for Valve working on the Steam machine for all these years. And they definitely deserve the credit for that. But the price is painful, and if that same burden carries onto the Steam frame, we should definitely be worried. And talking about SteamVR and the future of SteamVR, in case you guys want to be ready for whatever comes, I'm gonna leave a really nice SteamVR games bundle for you down below. It's made by Humble Bundle. It supports charity, and if you use the link, it'll also support the channel. So if you're looking for some cheap games to stack up your SteamVR library, this is definitely a good one to take a look at. Now, let's jump right on to some pretty exciting news in the smart glasses side of things, as Meta has just announced a brand new line of smart glasses. And for the first time, they're not being branded with Ray-Ban or Oakley logos. They are literally just called the Meta glasses. There are 3 models so far: the Meta Adventure, a rectangular frame, and the Meta Fury, which is a bolder, slightly larger design, and both start at $299. Then there's a third one called Meta Glasses by Kylie. Yes, that Kylie Jenner, which is a slimmer, oval-shaped design that starts at $399. Now, before you think that these are some sort of stripped-down budget versions, they're not. You're still getting a 12-megapixel camera, 3K video recording, open-ear speakers, a 6-microphone array, and Meta AI integration. They also threw in some quality-of-life upgrades, like adjustable temple tips and a better hinge design. The AI is powered by something called the Muse Spark model. EssilorLuxottica, who makes Ray-Ban and Oakley, and who are Meta's hardware partner, are still involved in manufacturing, but dropping the premium brand name drops the premium brand price. $300 is genuinely an aggressive entry point for this spec level. They're going to be available at meta.com and at major retailers. The smart glasses market is obviously booming right now. Samsung has their Android XR glasses dropping at Galaxy Unpacked on July 22nd. Acer just revealed 2 devices at $300 and $500, and Snap has 6th gen AR specs coming this fall. 2026 is seriously shaping up to be the year where smart glasses and that kind of form factor goes mainstream. Now onto a quick one, but an interesting one. Our favorite leaker Luna is back with some more information on X, as this time she's been digging through the Meta AI app, and found something that I don't think a lot of us were expecting. The first mention of a Meta smartwatch, codenamed Malibu. The strings she found reference something called the Malibu device, and separately there's something called Keras or Ceres, which appears to be the Meta neural band. Back in February, a journalist scooped that Meta was reviving a previously shelved smartwatch project called the Malibu 2, and planning to release it later this year with health tracking features and a built-in Meta AI assistant. That's not surprising to just about anyone. Now it's showing up in the Meta AI code, which suggests development is actively moving forward, and rather quickly. perhaps this is something we could be seeing at Meta Connect. Between the AI pendant they're apparently working on, the massive smart glasses push, and now a smartwatch, Meta is clearly building an entire ecosystem of AI wearables. Whether or not a Meta smartwatch actually makes sense in a market dominated by Apple Watch and Galaxy Watch, I don't know, and I seriously have my doubts about that one. I guess it depends what kind of OS it's running. But the pieces are definitely being put into place. Now let's move on to the VR fitness and sim crowd. The Virtuix Omni 1, that VR treadmill that lets you physically walk and run in 360 degrees, now has official native support for the Meta Quest 2 and Quest 3. That's a pretty big deal. Virtuix has partnered with Meta, and the Omni 1 is now part of the Made for Meta program, and is actively being listed on the official Meta store. Previously, using something like this with a Quest headset required workarounds or a PC connection. Now it's genuinely plug and play. You strap on a Quest 2 or Quest 3, step on the treadmill, and you're walking in virtual reality, with your actual legs. It launched with 8 natively supporting titles, including Veil, Forefront, Zero Caliber 2, and more, with additional games planned. The price is pretty scary though. It comes in at $2,595, so it's definitely in the enthusiast territory. But having official Quest support with no PC required is genuinely a meaningful step for VR fitness and sim hardware. And finally, we're going to talk really quick about the virtual reality games showcase that went live on June 23rd. And there's a pretty solid lineup of things shown off here. I'm obviously not going to go through every single title. I feel like that would be a serious waste of your time. And you have the link down below in case you want to check it out. But some standouts include Payday Aces High, which got a deep dive and looks genuinely fun. Breachers got a new co-op zombie mode called Breachers Outbreak. H3VR 2 showed up with a fresh look, which excited quite a few people, and there were a few reveals like the Rifted Skies, Guardians Planetfall, and a few others. As I said, if you want the full list, links will be down below to the entire article. I highly recommend you check it out. You might find something that interests you there. But with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, please leave a like. If you disliked it, I guess this button works too. But let me know why down below. If you're not yet part of our community, check out our Discord and our Reddit down below, where I want to see you posting your spicy memes. And thank you so much to all the patrons and everyone else supporting the channel in any way, shape, or form. You guys are amazing. Seriously, much love. It helps me out a ton and helps me keep these videos coming. And as usual, if you want to be notified about future content coming up on the channel, make sure to smack the subscribe button with your forehead, ding my bell, and see you again in the next video. Peace.